cold, but get warmed up with the Word of God. I'm gonna go cheesy.
Susan, I know who that guy is. He comes up in episode 5.
No, I mean, he's
I
there.
forgot the name of that.
I don't remember his
Pharisee.
name either, but, oh, Nicodemus.
Nicodemus, yeah.
Yes, we can't say anything about it yet.
Oh, I won't.
Did you see what I posted today that they're having a sneak preview this Sunday? It wasn't last
Well,
Sunday.
hello.
Oh, this is
This coming
How are ya?
Sunday.
on Prime.
Good, how are you doing?
Good.
For episode 6. No, it's not on Prime. It's on the Chosen YouTube,
Good evening.
which I don't even know what that is.
Okay.
But I did post it on Facebook today.
Okay, now I'll see him when I get home tonight.
Yeah, you look and see, yeah.
Alrighty.
Because I said, or I shared it with everybody. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, okay, good. And Henry sent you another good one. Did you get the one, Henry sent forwarded you the one about Joseph?
He sent me 3 or 4 of them, yeah.
Did you
Those
send
pretty
that
good.
many?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
oh,
good, yeah.
Reposted more today.
the Joseph one was really good, that
Was
Donald
very
was
good.
talking about.
Hyssop I already knew of.
Yeah,
like
I
that
knew
symbol.
about that hyssop one too, yeah. But very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just keep going. I learned more about boiled eggs too. Henry printed off another thing
Okay.
about them too, so I'm like, I need to know more.
Hey, I tried to catch fog yesterday. Missed.
Missed, Todd.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I gotta stop stealing your punchlines.
That's all right. I'm sure you, if I know one, you know it.
I am older.
What chapter we on?
26?
Was it 26?
36.
Ah, 36. Oh, there we go.
We got Jacob. Joseph's dreams.
All right, see if you know this one, John. Now I'll just test you. How many optometrists does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I don't know.
1 or 2? 1
Oh,
or 2?
perfect. I like that.
Huh? No.
You know how we knew it was going to be a really sad wedding? Even the cake was in tears.
No.
That's a groaner.
Yep. All right, well. We'll get about a minute. Looks like we got a few but proud crowd tonight. Welcome in everybody who's online. Let's see. I just opened it up and I heard everybody groan. Yes, I was muted, Mary. You should hear me now. All right. I was muted because I was telling bad dad jokes. But I couldn't beat John. He's just too good at it.
I got one more, but I'll wait till later.
Okay, all right. All right. Well, we got about 15 seconds. I wouldn't want to start early. I wonder how many are on there?
8.
Okay.
Oh, good number.
I'm just wondering how many of our regulars are watching online. Because it's cold. The discussion today was whether and when to make the decision to cancel school on Friday, because it's supposed to be like 25 below or something like that. But with pancakes with pastors, and with the 8th grade versus staff volleyball game, need to make that call as early as possible so that people get the word. And I said, just do it now. But Valley just canceled classes for Thursday and Friday. It said they have too much sickness. on staff and students. So I love pancakes with pastors. I just wish it was more of a brunch, like say 10 o'clock. Yeah, right. Yeah. It starts at 7. I'm groaning about that, and Joel says you should be here at 6:45. Oh, come on. Yep. I was always a night person until I had kids, and they kind of make you a morning person. And then when my kids got old enough to, get themselves up and all that, I went right back to being, well, no. Then I went to a night person for maybe like 6 months, and then I just went straight into old. Now I'm shot by 9 o'clock, but I also don't like to get up before 8, so. Not that I go to bed before midnight anyway, but I should. All right, enough about me. Let's pray. God, we thank you for just so many things that we have to be thankful for, and not the least of which is our school. And this is a National Lutheran Schools Week, and we had chapel today, and listening to the kids singing was just incredible and really encouraging. And there's a lot of things going on, but there's a lot of cold weather out there, and I just pray that you would keep everyone safe and just continue to bless our ministries and bless us this evening. Open up your word to us as we gather and grow, so that we may be disciples who go to make more disciples. In Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. I did hear from Kent and Debbie Tim, who, while we were sitting in the board of directors meeting last night, their third grandchild was born. So they're down wherever he said, seeing the new granddaughter. And Ron and Nancy said they were not up to going out tonight, so they'll be watching online. Yep. So hi, everybody.
Nathan's online too.
Oh, Nathan's online?
Ohio,
Oh, he's in Ohio?
his parents' house.
Oh, man, that's unfortunate. Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh. Traveling in foreign countries is difficult. Yeah. Yeah.
And Elaine couldn't make it because she forgot about it.
Elaine,
Got by her house and she's just,
Elaine forgot. Oh, come on, Elaine. Ah.
she's getting older.
All right. I saw Mary Griffour's on there. What's that? 15? All right, cool. Okay, well, I'm going to do my best to try and keep my voice a little less pushing through so it'll last longer. We'll see. I don't usually do very well at that, but I have some water tonight, so hopefully that'll help too. All right. Genesis chapter 36. And this is not the best place to start, but it also wasn't the best place to finish, so we are what we are. These are the generations of Esau. Sorry. That is Edom. Esau took his wives from the Canaanites: Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite; Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite; and Basemath, Ishmael's daughter, the sister of Nebaioth. And Adah bore to Esau Eliphaz. Basemath bore Ruel, and Oholibamah bore Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau who were born to him in the land of Canaan. Oholibamah. That just sounds like there's got to be a joke there. I can't figure out if it's Alabama or Obama or Oholibamah. I don't know. Anyway. Verse 6, Then Esau took his wives, his sons, his daughters, and all the members of his household, his livestock, all his beasts, and all his property that he had acquired in the land of Canaan. He went into a land away from his brother Jacob, for their possessions were too great for them to dwell together. They were too rich to live next door. The land of their sojournings could not support them because of their livestock. So Esau settled in the hill country of Seir. Esau is Edom. So there again, this would be for the contemporary audience who would know the land of Edom And so they're saying that it was called the land of Edom because Esau was also called Edom, and he lived there. These are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in the hill country of Seir. These are the names of Esau's son. Eliphaz, the son of Ada, the wife of Esau. Reuel, the son of Basemath, the wife of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. They later became the Marx brothers. Nope, just kidding. Timnah was a concubine of Eliphaz, Esau's son. She bore Amalek to Eliphaz. Amalek. I wonder if the Amalekites came from Amalek. These are the sons of Ada, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Reuel, Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These are the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's wife. She bore to Esau Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Extra credit to anybody who wants to make a family tree. These are the chiefs of the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn of Esau, the chiefs Teman, Omar, Zepho, Kenaz, Korah, Gatam, and Amalek. These are the chiefs of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Ada. These are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son. The chiefs Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These are the chiefs of Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Oholibamah, Esau's wife. The chiefs Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. These are the chiefs born of Oholibamah to the daughter of Anna, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, that is Edom, and these are their chiefs. I really hope somebody else is tracking all this, because I'm not. These are the...
Chief meaning they're head of a tribe?
Yeah. Yep. So again, we're still getting... The history is also the etymology of the names of the regions that the people would be familiar with. These are the sons of Seir, the Horite, the inhabitants of the land. Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anna, Dishan, Ezer, and Dishan. Dishan and Dishan. These are the chiefs of the Horites, the sons of Seir in the land of Edom. The son, yep.
Are the Horites different than the Hittites?
Yes.
Totally different tribe.
Yep. But the Horites would be descended from the Hittites. So every Horite is a Hittite, but not every Hittite is a Horite. Also, more extra credit if you make the concentric circles, the Venn diagram. Whew. The sons of Lotan were Hori and Hemam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. These are the sons of Shobal, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. No. Alvin, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onem. These are the sons of Zibeon, Aiah, and Anna. He is the Anna who found the hot springs in the wilderness as he pastured the donkeys of Zibeon, his father. Now, obviously, this is knowledge we're not privy to, but the audience would have been then, right? Oh, this is the Anna that found the hot springs out there. Oh, okay. And what I like about that is it reminds us that even though God wrote this word to be timeless, he also placed it in history, right? And so it doesn't mean anything to us except that it means something to us that it did mean something to our ancestors, right? These are the children of Anah, Dishan and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah. These are the sons of Dishan, Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Cheran. These are the sons of Ezer, Bilhan, Zaavan, and Akan. These are the sons of Dishan, Uz, and Aran. These are the chiefs of the Horites, the chiefs Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anna, Dishan, Ezer, and Dishan. These are the chiefs of the Horites, chief by chief, in the land of Seir. We're almost through it. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites. Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, the name of his city being Dinhaba. Bela died, and Jobab, the son of Zerah of Basra, reigned in his place. Jobab died, and Husham of the land of the Temanites reigned in his place. Husham died, and Hadad the son of Bedad, who defeated Midian in the country of Moab, reigned in his place, the name of his city being Avith. Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his place. Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth on the Euphrates reigned in his place. Shaul died, and Baal-Hanan, the son of Achbor, reigned in his place. Baal-Hanan, or Baal-Hanan, the son of Achbor, died, and Hadar reigned in his place, the name of his city being Pau, not Kung Pao, Pau. His wife's name was Mahatabel, the daughter of Matred, daughter of Mezahab. These are the names of the chiefs of Esau, according to their clans and their dwelling places, by their names. The chiefs Timnah, Alva, Jetheth, Oholibamah, Ela, Pinon, Kenaz, Teman, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Iram. These are the chiefs of Edom, that is Esau, the father of Edom, according to their dwelling places in the land of their possession. And that is the last that we will hear of Esau and Edom, other than the Edomites. Yes. Well, I'm not repeating the question, sorry. If what?
Each of the original ones died.
Yes, they died.
The person that took over for them was a son, or not necessarily?
It's not really that clear if they're all related somehow. They're all tribal, but we don't know exactly.
Because they say it like, well, we should know.
Yeah.
This is the person that succeeded him.
Yeah, again, I think the reason this is, again, they didn't, again, I just keep saying again. I haven't said any of this yet, but again, they didn't write with chapters. We put in the chapters to make it easier. But the reason that this section is sectioned off as a chapter is it really only serves the purpose of telling the readers then this is where all this came from, which ties it into history, right? And so I think this is where the Bible gets that reputation of being boring, because people read through a chapter like this and they're like, who cares about all these names, and it's so repetitive and it doesn't even make any sense to me. But this isn't something that we need to sit and study word by word and break it down. This is something, the importance of chapter 36 to us is that God rooted it in history. And so, excuse me, chapter 36 is tangential to the main story, but Esau is still Isaac's son and Jacob's brother. And so it's still important to us to know what happened to Esau. But it's more important to the readers then, or not more important, more profound to the readers then, right? It's kind of like, at least for me, I love history so much that, you know, when you hear something and you're like, I'm making this up, okay? But like, let's say you go up to Mackinac City and you're visiting Fort Michilimackinac and you're looking around and the tour guide says, you know, Fort Michilimackinac was built in such and such a year and it was defending against the French in such and such a year and blah, blah, blah. And one of the commanders here was Bill, and Bill also served in the Indian War over in Montreal, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, that's how that's connected. I mean, that's really what's kind of going on here. But it also demonstrates how tied together the world is, right? I mean, for as big as the world is, it's really a small world. All right. Jeff, I'm counting on you to give me any comments or questions down there. It's nice to have you with us, even though it's another night out. Jeff would always come and set up the camera, and then he'd run over for worship team rehearsal and then come back and take the camera down. Well, worship team rehearsal got moved to Tuesday, so now he gets to stay for class. But that means it's an extra night out for him. So, all right, chapter 37. Meanwhile, back with Jacob. Jacob lived in the land of his father's sojournings in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was pasturing the flock with his brothers. He was a boy with the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wives, and Joseph brought a bad report of them to their father. So he went and tattled. Now Israel, Jacob, loved Joseph more than any of his other sons because he was the son of his old age. Also, he was Rebekah's, not Rebekah, Rachel. Rachel was the wife he originally wanted and loved most. Rebekah's mom. Now, okay, so Jacob loved Joseph, so he made him a robe of many colors. The funny thing is, we actually don't know the full meaning of the Hebrew term for what we translate as coat, a robe of many colors. The Septuagint, which was the Greek translation of the Hebrew, translated it not as a coat of many colors, but a robe with long sleeves. So the Vulgate, which was the Latin translation of the Greek translation of the Hebrew, called it a robe with long sleeves. The King James, which is the English translation of the Latin translation of the Greek translation of the Hebrew, calls it a robe with long sleeves. That's, by the way, the main reason why I say the King James is not a very reliable translation, because it literally is a translation of a translation of a translation. Yeah. When Luther went back and translated, he translated from the original Hebrew and Greek, and he translated coat of many colors. Kim. Yeah, richly ornamented. Even a robe with long sleeves would imply that it's a really nice robe, right? It's decorative, it's ornamental, it's a cape. It's like buying all your kids windbreakers and then buying a leather varsity jacket for one son, right? Nope, but Jacob did. But when his brothers saw that their father loved Joseph more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peacefully to him. So, as we're going to see, Joseph's kind of a spoiled brat. That's not really his fault, that's Daddy's fault. But also, because Daddy spoils him, his brothers are mad at Daddy and take it out on Joseph. So, Daddy is responsible for all of this mess. Not that they don't bear responsibility, but as we hear about Joseph, if you think about being his brother, I think you'd hate him too. Now, Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Hear this dream that I have dreamed. Behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and behold, my sheaf arose and stood upright. And behold, your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to my sheaf." And his brothers said to him, "Are you kidding? I mean, are you indeed to reign over us, or are you indeed to reign over us, or are you indeed to rule over us?" So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. I wonder, was Joseph bragging to his brothers, or was Joseph trying to go, "Hey, check out this goofy dream that I had"? But again, they're already inclined to look for the worst in the situation regarding him.
Doesn't that kind
Depends upon how they verbalize that.
Hang on, John.
doesn't that go back to the moms too? Like, if your moms are around when you're growing up and your moms hate each other already or competing over
Yeah, that doesn't help either, right?
so we know, I'm sorry, is it Rachel? Or what was the
So there's Leah and Rachel, and then the two servants.
We know Rachel died. Is Leah
Yeah, so Leah, Zilpah, and Bilhah are still around. Rachel died.
Okay, so, I mean, they're probably telling their kids that Joseph sucks like his mom.
Yeah, I'm sure that the fact that the other wives are jealous of each other, yeah, that doesn't help things. And you're telling your kids, you're better than them and whatever. You're born first, and yeah, and Rachel's not there to raise Joseph, so that's a difference too, right? I'm sure Leah and Zilpah and Bilhah are not the most attentive moms to a kid that's not theirs when you've got this competitive household. And so Jacob's the one that's raising him. So there's another reason he's spoiled. Yeah. So verse 9, then he dreamed another dream and told it to his brothers and said, behold, I have dreamed another dream. Behold, the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars were bowing down to me. But when he told it to his father and to his brothers, his father rebuked him and said to him, what is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brothers indeed come to bow ourselves to the ground before you? And his brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the saying in mind. So even his father's a little irked by this dream. I don't think I've ever dreamed a dream that I was responsible for. They're all mad at him for having these dreams. Maybe they're mad at him because they don't believe him, that he's making it up? Or just, I suppose this happens today too, where, this is kind of like a running joke, a trope, is that the wife is angry with the husband because she had a dream that he did something bad, and now she wakes up and she's mad at him and he doesn't know what he did because it was in a dream. So I suppose it still happens today, or at least we joke about it. And then things, now that escalated quickly. We get to verse 12, and they're so tired of him that now his brothers went to pasture their father's flock near Shechem. And Israel, Jacob, dad, said to Joseph, are not your brothers pasturing the flock at Shechem? Come, I will send you to them. And Joseph said, here I am. So he said to him, go now, see if it is well with your brothers and with the flock, and bring me word. So Jacob is sending Joseph to go check on his brothers and report back. So he sent him to the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a man found him wandering in the fields, and the man asked him, what are you seeking? I am seeking my brothers, he said. Tell me, please, where they are pasturing the flock. And the man said, they have gone away, for I heard them say, let us go to Dothan. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan. They saw him from afar, and before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. They said to one another, here comes the dreamer. Here comes this dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. This is crazy, right? A cistern. Then we will say that a fierce animal has devoured him, and we will see what will become of his dreams. I wonder, they're this sick of him that they want to kill him and then just say he got killed by an animal? Or is this kind of like the mob mentality where, there's 11 of them, right? And they're getting each other riled up. But it's Reuben, and Reuben's the oldest, I believe. But when Reuben heard it, he rescued him out of their hands, saying, let us not take his life. And Reuben said to them, shed no blood. Throw him into this pit here in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him, that he might rescue him out of their hand to restore him to his father. What? Throw him into this pit here in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him, that he might rescue him out of their hand to restore him to his father. Oh, he said that so that he, Reuben, might rescue Joseph out of the brother's hand to restore him to his father. Okay, sorry, I wasn't following that. So Reuben is saying, no, don't shed any blood, just throw him in the pit. And then he's thinking when they go away, he'll get Joseph out. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors or long sleeves that he wore, and they took him and they threw him into a pit. The pit was empty. There was no water in it. So they threw him into a well, an empty well. Then they sat down to eat. They're like, that's over with. Let's have some lunch. And looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. So this would be a bunch of Jewish boys or young men out in the field who see a bunch of traveling Arab nomads. Okay? Ishmaelites coming from Gilead with their camels bearing gum, balm, and myrrh on their way to carry it down to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, "What profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our own flesh." What an argument, right? Hey, if we kill him, what do we get out of the deal? But and besides, I mean, he is our own brother after all. So let's sell him into slavery, and then they can kill him, and we'll get some money out of it, and it won't be our fault. And his brothers listened to him. 28. Then Midianite traders passed by, and they drew Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. They took Joseph to Egypt. Foreshadowing. When Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not in the pit, he tore his clothes and returned to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone, and where shall I go?" Then they took Joseph's robe and slaughtered a goat and dipped the robe in the blood. And they sent the robe of many colors and brought it to their father and said, "This we have found. Please identify whether it is your son's robe or not." And Jacob identified it and said, "It is my son's robe. A fierce animal has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his garments and put sackcloth on his loins and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted and said, "No, I shall go down to Sheol to my son mourning." Thus his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites had sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard. So they're sick and tired of Joseph, and they want their dad to pay more attention to them. And what ends up happening is they basically lose their dad. He just goes into full mourning. And because, I mean, think about it. You know, Jacob worked honorably to marry Rachel. That's who he loved. Laban cheated him out of it and made him marry Leah. Rachel, who he marries afterward, is barren. She can't have kids. So Leah bears him sons. Leah and Rachel both give him their servants. They bear him sons. And that's all well and good, but Rachel's his beloved. And then finally, Rachel bears him a son, and it's Joseph. And then she bears him another son, Benjamin, but she dies in childbirth. So he's lost his true love. So he's got these wives, he's got these sons, and I'm sure he loves them, but not in the way that, you know, Rachel was supposed to be, should have been his wife. And Joseph was, you know, that's what he had left. And then Benjamin, who's just a baby, just a boy. Yes, Kim?
Did they ever tell Reuben that they sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites?
It doesn't sound like they told Reuben the truth, no. Yeah, I don't know, but, I mean, they must have, because otherwise because Reuben knew that they tore up the robe and put the blood on him, so I would think he would have accused them of killing him, Joseph, behind his back, and then they would have said no. I mean, maybe they said slavers came and stole him or something like that. But otherwise, Reuben might think Joseph escaped and is just going to come back home on his own. So he must know something. 20 shekels, 11 ways. Should have gotten 22 shekels. Chapter 38. It happened at that time that Judah went down from his brothers and turned aside to a certain Adullamite, whose name was Hira. There Judah saw the daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua. He took her and went in to her, and she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name She conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. Yet again she bore a son, and she called his name Shelah. Judah was in Chazib when she bore him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord put him to death. Then Judah said to Onan, "Go into your brother's wife and perform the duty of a brother-in-law to her, and raise up offspring for your brother." So it was law, or at least cultural responsibility then, that if a man married a woman and he died before she bore him any offspring, then if he had a brother, the brother would impregnate the widow, and any offspring would still be the original husband's. So it would be, if my brother died, it would be my responsibility to get his widow pregnant, and any kids then would not be my kids, they would be my brother's kids. Okay, so this was the expectation. So, and you would do that in order to continue your brother's line, to honor him, right? So the widow would be the responsibility of, I don't know if she would go back to her father or if the husband's father would support them. And it may be the responsibility of the brother to also take care for her and raise the son. I'm not positive on all that.
So are they back to marrying Canaanites now?
Yeah. Yep, they're back to marrying whoever they want now. Verse 9, but Onan knew that the offspring would not be his, so whenever he went into his brother's wife, he would waste the semen on the ground, so as not to give offspring to his brother. So he would stop short, right? Or pull out early, excuse my imagery. And what he did was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and he put him to death also. This is incorrectly called the sin of Onan. Masturbation. That is not what happened here. But there are those in the evangelical community and even in the Catholic Church that refer to masturbation as the sin of Onan. Onan's sin was not, I'm not trying to argue for masturbation or anything like that, that's a whole other thing. It was not the wasted semen that was the sin, it was that he was not fulfilling his familial obligation. And in fact, what he was doing was using her for sex without the responsibility. And that was the sin of Onan. So that's what was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and he put him to death also. 11, then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, "Remain a widow in your father's house till Shelah, my son, grows up," for he feared that he would die like his brothers. So Tamar went and remained in her father's house. So the youngest son is not old enough to jump in as the next brother. And probably Judah is a little afraid that whoever sleeps with her dies, right? So he takes her into his home and he takes care of her. And there's nothing to say that he slept with her. He just took care of her. At least so far. Verse 12. In the course of time, the wife of Judah, Shua's daughter, died. When Judah was comforted, so after the time of mourning, he went up to Timnah to his sheep shearers, he and his friend Hira, the Adulamite. And when Tamar, so this is the widow, the son's widow, when Tamar was told, "Your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep," she took off her widow's garments and covered herself with a veil, wrapping herself up, and sat at the entrance to Enaim, which is on the road to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown up, and she had not been given to him in marriage. So now Shelah, the youngest son, is of age to be required to go into her and produce offspring. But Judah is not letting him, because again, Judah is afraid that whoever sleeps with Tamar dies. So now Tamar knows father-in-law is cheating her. So she goes up and she sits on the road to where he's going. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute, for she had covered her face. He turned to her at the roadside and said, "Come, let me come in to you," for he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. She said, "What will you give me that you may come in to me?" He answered, "I will send you a young goat from the flock." And she said, "If you give me a pledge until you send it." He said, "What pledge shall I give to you?" She replied, "Your signet and your cord and your staff that is in your hand." So he gave them to her and went in to her, and she conceived by him. Then she arose and went away, and taking off her veil, she put on the garments of her widowhood. So she tricked him. But if he wasn't wanting to sleep with a prostitute, he wouldn't be in this mess. Verse 20. When Judah sent the young goat by his friend the Adulamite to take back the pledge from the woman's hand, he did not find her. And he asked the men of the place, "Where is the cult prostitute?" So, because most prostitutes were religious prostitutes, a woman who served a pagan deity, who was at Enaim at the roadside. And they said, "There's no cult prostitute around here." So he returned to Judah and said, "I have not found her." Also the men of the place said, "No cult prostitute has been here." And Judah replied, let her keep the things as her own, or we shall be laughed at. You see, I sent this young goat, and you did not find her. So he can't keep looking for her publicly, or everybody will know his shame. About 3 months later, Judah was told, "Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has been immoral. She has committed prostitution or adultery. Moreover, she is pregnant by immorality." So, And Judah said, "Bring her out and let her be burned." As she was being brought out, she sent word to her father-in-law, "By the man to whom these belong, I am pregnant." And she said, "Please identify whose these are, the signet and the cord and the staff." Then Judah identified them and said, "She is more righteous than I, since I did not give her to my son Shelah." And he did not know her again. When the time of her labor came, there were twins in her womb. And when she was in labor, one put out a hand, and the midwife took and tied a scarlet thread on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." But as he drew back his hand, behold, his brother came out. And she said, "What a breach you have made for yourself." Therefore his name was called Perez, which means breach. Afterward his brother came out with the scarlet thread on his hand, and his name was called Zerah. What a mess. Chapter 39. Nope. Nope. Yep. Nope. It's funny how many people, though, remember the scarlet cord on the twins and apply that to the story of Jacob and Esau. I've heard a lot of people say that, but that's not Jacob and Esau. Interesting, though, that the baby gets his hand out, and then his brother's like, "Yoink," and I'm going first.
Is that a common practice to tie, so they would identify which one came up first?
I can't imagine. Okay, so you asked if that's a common practice. One, I can't imagine that's a common practice. I don't know how many babies stick their hand out before their head comes out. But also, why would she have a scarlet cord handy to do that?
How would she know it was twins?
And he wasn't even born first because he hadn't been delivered.
Right, yeah. And I don't know why. Why did she tie the scarlet cord around it? I mean, I don't.
Could have been, I mean, she is a Canaanite woman, so it could have been some sketchy custom they had.
It could have been some sketchy Canaanite ritual, yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe they were very, very strict about firstborn. I just,
For the blessing.
why would you do that unless he already went back in, and then you can't do it, right? If you're like, oh crap, now we don't know who's first because he's already inside. But he sticks his hand out and is like, hey. She's like, quick, hang on. Why didn't she grab the hand and pull him out? I don't know. Biblical childbirth. Here you go. Well, we've had some great topics tonight. Let's have another one. Chapter 39. Now Joseph had been brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, the officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard, an Egyptian, had bought him from the Ishmaelites who had brought him down there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, and he was in the house of his Egyptian master. His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all that he did to succeed in his hands. So Joseph found favor in his sight and attended him, and he made him overseer of his house and put him in charge of all that he had. From the time he made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. The blessing of the Lord was on all that he had in house and field. So he left all that he had in Joseph's charge, and because of him, he had no concern about anything but the food he ate. Now Joseph was fine. Joseph was handsome in form and appearance. That means he's got a good body and a good face. And after a time, his master's wife cast her eyes on Joseph and said, lie with me. But he refused and said to his master's wife, behold, because of me, my master has no concern about anything in the house, and he has put everything that he has in my charge. He is not greater in this house than I am, nor has he kept back anything from me except you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And as she spoke to Joseph day after day, he would not listen to her, to lie beside her or to be with her. So he won't even cuddle. But one day, when he went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was there in the house, she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. But he left his garment in her hand and fled and got out of the house. And as soon as she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and had fled out of the house, she called to the men of her household and said to them, see, he has brought among us a Hebrew to laugh at us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And as soon as he heard that, I lifted up my voice and cried out. He left his garment beside me and fled and got out of the house. Then she laid up his garment by her until his master came home, and she told him the same story, saying, the Hebrew servant whom you have brought among us came in to me to laugh at me. But as soon as I lifted up my voice and cried, he left his garment beside me and fled out of the house. So she's basically accusing him of trying to rape her. As soon as the master heard the words that his wife spoke to him, this is the way your servant treated me, his anger was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he was there in prison. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him steadfast love and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners who were in the prison. Whatever was done there, he was the one who did it. The keeper of the prison paid no attention to anything that was in Joseph's charge, because the Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made it succeed. Chapter 40. Are we good? All right. Sometime after this, the cupbearer of the king of Egypt and his baker committed an offense against their lord the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was angry with his 2 officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. And he put them in and he put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard in the prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guard appointed Joseph to be with them, and he attended them. They continued for some time in his custody. And one night they both dreamed, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison, each his own dream, and each dream with its own interpretation. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they were troubled. So he asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in custody in his master's house, "Why are your faces downcast today?" They said to him, "We have had dreams, and there is no one to interpret them." And Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Please tell them to me." Which sounds an awful lot like he's claiming to be God. So the chief cupbearer told his dream to Joseph and said to him, "In my dream there was a vine before me, and on the vine there were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, its blossoms shot forth, and the clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand." Then Joseph said to him, "This is its interpretation. The 3 branches are 3 days. In 3 days Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your office, and you shall place Pharaoh's cup in his hand as formerly when you were his cupbearer. Only remember me when it is well with you, and please do me the kindness to mention me to Pharaoh, and so get me out of this house. For I was indeed stolen out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also I have done nothing that they should put me into the pit." When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was favorable, he said to Joseph, "I also had a dream. There were 3 cake baskets on my head, and in the uppermost basket there were all sorts of baked food for Pharaoh. But the birds were eating out of the basket on my head." And Joseph answered and said, "This is its interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. In 3 days Pharaoh will lift up your head from you and hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat the flesh from you." On the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, he made a feast for all his servants and lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and the head of the chief baker among his servants. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. Chapter 41. After 2 whole years, Pharaoh dreamed that he was standing by the Nile. So poor Joseph has just been in prison as an innocent man for a long time. Pharaoh dreamed that he was standing by the Nile, and behold, there came up out of the Nile 7 cows, attractive and plump, and they fed in the reed grass. And behold, 7 other cows, ugly and thin, came up out of the Nile after them, and stood by the other cows on the bank of the Nile. And the ugly, thin cows ate up the 7 attractive, plump cows. And Pharaoh awoke. And he fell asleep and dreamed a second time. And behold, 7 ears of grain, plump and good, were growing on one stalk. And behold, after them sprouted 7 ears, thin and blighted by the east wind. And the thin ears swallowed up the 7 plump, full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. So in the morning his spirit was troubled, and he sent, and he called for all the magicians of Egypt and all its wise men. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but there was none who could interpret them to Pharaoh. Then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, "I remember my offenses today, when Pharaoh was angry with his servants and put me and the chief baker in custody in the house of the captain of the guard. We dreamed on the same night, he and I, each having a dream with its own interpretation. A young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. When we told him, he interpreted our dreams to us, giving an interpretation to each man according to his dream. And as he interpreted to us, so it came about. I was restored to my office, and the baker was hanged." I always wonder, is a cupbearer's job that hard that he couldn't remember the guy who got predicted he'd be set free and did him a favor? I mean, how busy is the cupbearer? 14. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they quickly brought him out of the pit. And when he had shaved himself and changed his clothes, he came in before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have had a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it. I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. Joseph answered Pharaoh, it is not in me. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. So now we know Joseph was not calling himself God. He was just saying, hey, the only person who can interpret a dream is God, so tell me and I'll ask God. Then Pharaoh, 17, said to Joseph, behold, in my dream I was standing on the banks of the Nile. 7 cows, plump and attractive, came up out of the Nile and fed in the reed grass. 7 other cows came up after them, poor and very ugly and thin, such as I had never seen in all the land of Egypt. And the thin, ugly cows ate up the first 7 plump cows, but when they had eaten them, no one would have known that they had eaten them, for they were still as ugly as at the beginning. Then I awoke. I also saw in my dream 7 ears growing on one stalk, full and good. 7 ears, withered, thin, and blighted by the east wind, sprouted after them. And the thin ears swallowed up the 7 good ears. And I told it to the magicians, but there was no one who could explain it to me. Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, the dreams of Pharaoh are one. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dreams are one. The 7 lean and ugly cows that come up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears blighted by the east wind are also 7 years of famine. It is as I told Pharaoh. God has shown to Pharaoh what he is about to do. There will come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. But after them there will arise 7 years of famine, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt. The famine will consume the land, and the plenty will be unknown in the land by reason of the famine that will follow, for it will be very severe. And the doubling of Pharaoh's dream means that the thing is fixed by God, and God will shortly bring it about. Now therefore let Pharaoh select a discerning and wise man, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh proceed to appoint overseers over the land, and take 1/5 of the produce of the land of Egypt during the 7 plentiful years. And let them gather all the food of these good years that are coming, and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the cities, and let them keep it. That food shall be a reserve for the land against the 7 years of famine that are to occur in the land of Egypt, so that the land may not perish through the famine. This proposal pleased Pharaoh and all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find a man like this in whom is the Spirit of God? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has shown you all this, there is none so discerning and wise as you are. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only as regards the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh took his signet ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand, and clothed him in garments of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him ride in his 2nd chariot, and they called out before him, bow the knee. Thus he set him over all the land of Egypt. Moreover, Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent no one shall lift up hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphenath-Paneah. Joseph's easier to say. And he gave him in marriage Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. So Joseph went out over the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So I don't know if it told us how old he was before, but he was a boy when he was thrown into the pit. So it's been a long time. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went through all the land of Egypt. During the 7 plentiful years, the earth produced abundantly, and he gathered up all the food of these 7 years, which occurred in the land of Egypt, and put the food in the cities. He put in every city the food from the fields around it. And Joseph stored up grain in great abundance, like the sand of the sea, until he ceased to measure it, for it could not be measured. Before the year of famine came, 2 sons were born to Joseph. Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bore them to him. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for he said, God has made me forget all my hardship and all my father's house. Manasseh sounds like the Hebrew for making to forget. The name of the second son he called Ephraim, or Ephraim, for God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. It sounds like making fruitful. So Ephraim and Manasseh basically are like, or Manasseh and Ephraim, it's kind of like law and gospel, right? It's kind of like the bad days are behind me and God has given me good days. 53. The 7 years of plenty that occurred in the land of Egypt came to an end, and the 7 years of famine began to come, as Joseph had said. There was famine in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. When all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, go to Joseph. What he says to you, do. So when the famine had spread over all the land, Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold to the Egyptians, for the famine was severe in the land of Egypt. Moreover, all the earth came to Egypt to Joseph to buy grain, because the famine was severe over all the earth. Break. (42) When Jacob learned that there was grain for sale in Egypt, he said to his sons, why do you look at one another? And he said, behold, I have heard that there is grain for sale in Egypt. Go down and buy grain for us there, that we may live and not die. So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with his brothers, for he feared that harm might happen to him. Thus the sons of Israel came to buy among the others who came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. So again, it's not that Benjamin's not a little boy anymore. If Joseph's 30, Benjamin's 28, 26. But he can't bear for anything to happen to the last of Rachel. Now Joseph was governor over the land. He was the one who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed themselves before him with their faces to the ground. Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he treated them like strangers and spoke roughly to them. Where do you come from? He said. They said, from the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him, which makes sense. He was a boy. They were already grown. And Joseph remembered the dreams that he had dreamed of them. And he said to them, you are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land. They said to him, no, my lord, your servants have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man. We are honest men. Your servants have never been spies. He said to them, no, it is the nakedness of the land that you have come to see. And they said, we, your servants, are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is no more. But Joseph said to them, it is as I said to you, you are spies. By this you shall be tested. By the life of Pharaoh, you shall not go from this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you and let him bring your brother while you remain confined, that your words may be tested, whether there is truth in you. Or else, by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies. And he put them all together in custody for 3 days. On the 3rd day, Joseph said to them, do this and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers remain confined where you are in custody, and let the rest go and carry grain for the famine of your households. and bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die." And they did so. Then they said to one another, "In truth, we are guilty concerning our brother, and that we saw the distress of his soul when he begged us, and we did not listen. That is why this distress has come upon us." So they're remembering Joseph now. They don't recognize him, but they're remembering what they did, and they're saying that this is karma, basically. What goes around comes around. And Reuben answered them, "Did I not tell you not to sin against the boy? But you did not listen. So now there comes a reckoning for his blood." They did not know that Joseph understood them, for there was an interpreter between them. Then he turned away from them and wept. And he returned to them and spoke to them. And he took Simeon from among them and bound him before their eyes. And Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, and to replace every man's money in his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. This was done for them. Then they loaded their donkeys with their grain and departed. And as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey fodder at the lodging place, he saw his money in the mouth of his sack. He said to his brothers, "My money has been put back here in the mouth of my sack." At this their hearts failed them, and they turned trembling to one another, saying, "What is this that God has done to us?" When they came to Jacob, their father, in the land of Canaan, they told him all that had happened to them, saying, "The man, the Lord of the land, spoke roughly to us and took us to be spies of the land. But we said to him, 'We are honest men. We have never been spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father. One is no more, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan.' Then the man, the Lord of the land, said to us, 'By this I shall know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers with me, and take grain for the famine of your households, and go on your way. Bring your youngest brother to me. Then I shall know that you are not spies, but honest men, and I will deliver your brother to you, and you shall trade in the land.' As they emptied their sacks, behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. And when they and their father saw their bundles of money, they were afraid. And Jacob their father said to them, 'You have bereaved me of my children. Joseph is no more, and Simeon is no more, and now you would take Benjamin. All this has come against me.' Then Reuben said to his father, 'Kill my 2 sons if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands, and I will bring him back to you.' But Jacob said, 'My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is the only one left. If harm should happen to him on the journey that you are to make, you would bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to Sheol.' Now the famine was severe in the land. And when they had eaten the grain that they had brought from Egypt, their father said to them, 'Go again, buy us a little food.' But Judah said to him, 'The man solemnly warned us, saying, You shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. If you will send our brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. But if you will not send him, we will not go down. For the man said to us, You shall not see my face unless your brother is with you.'"
Isn't this a risk that Jacob is taking? I mean, his son is there, and there's no response from them to go back.
Yeah.
And the guy killed me. Joseph killed him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Jacob is just like, "Go back and buy food." And they're like, Did you not hear us? We can't go back and buy food.
2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, they waited 2 years. Simeon is in prison, by the way, the whole time. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of love there. Yeah. Oh. I don't understand why I get stuffy as I read. Like, what is that about? Anyway. Where did I leave off? Oh, yeah, 6. Israel said, "Why did you treat me so badly as to tell the man you had another brother?" Well, it doesn't matter now. They replied, "The man questioned us carefully about ourselves and our kindred, saying, 'Is your father still alive? Do you have another brother?' What we told him was an answer to these questions. Could we in any way know that he would say, 'Bring your brother down'?" And Judah said to Israel his father, "Send the boy with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and you, and also our little ones. I will be a pledge of his safety, From my hand you shall require him. If I do not bring him back to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. If we had not delayed, we would now have returned twice. Then their father Israel said to them, if it must be so, then do this. Take some of the choice fruits of the land in your bags, and carry a present down to the man, a little balm and a little honey, gum, myrrh, pistachio nuts, and almonds. Take double the money with you. Carry back with you the money that was returned in the mouths of your sacks. Perhaps it was an oversight. Take also your brother, and arise, go again to the man. May God Almighty grant you mercy before the man, and may he send back your other brother and Benjamin. And as for me, if I am bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. So the men took this present, and they took double the money with them and Benjamin. They arose and went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the steward of his house, bring the men into the house and slaughter an animal and make ready, for the men are to dine with me at noon. The man did as Joseph told him and brought the men to Joseph's house. And the men were afraid because they were brought to Joseph's house. Then they said, it is because of the money, which was replaced in our sacks the first time, that we are brought in so that he may assault us and fall upon us to make us servants and seize our donkeys. So they went up to the steward of Joseph's house and spoke with him at the door of the house and said, O my lord, we came down the first time to buy food. And when we came to the lodging place, we opened our sacks, and there was each man's money in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight. So we have brought it again with us, and we have brought other money down with us to buy food. We do not know who put money in our sacks. He replied, peace to you. Do not be afraid. Your God and the God of your father has put treasure in your sacks for you. I received your money. Then he lied, but whatever. Then he brought Simeon out to them. And when the man had brought the men into Joseph, well, actually, did he lie? Because it said, Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain and to replace every man's money back in his sack. So, okay. Then he brought Simeon out to them. And when the man had brought the men into Joseph's house, 24, and given them water, and they had washed their feet, and when he had given their donkeys fodder, they prepared the present for Joseph's coming at noon, for they heard that they should eat bread there. When Joseph came home, they brought into the house to him the present that they had with them, and bowed down to him to the ground. And he inquired about their welfare and said, is your father well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he still alive? They said, your servant our father is well, he is still alive. And they bowed their heads and prostrated themselves. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, is this your youngest brother of whom you spoke to me? God be gracious to you, my son. Then Joseph hurried out, for his compassion grew warm for his brother, and he sought a place to weep. And he entered his chamber and wept there. Then he washed his face and came out, and controlling himself, he said, serve the food. They served him by himself, and them by themselves, and the Egyptians who ate with him by themselves, because the Egyptians could not eat with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination to the Egyptians. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men looked at one another in amazement. Portions were taken to them from Joseph's table, but Benjamin's portion was 5 times as much as any of theirs, and they drank and were merry with him. Then Joseph commanded the steward of his house, fill the men's sacks with food as much as they can carry, and put each man's money in the mouth of his sack, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest with his money for the grain. And he did as Joseph told him. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away with their donkeys. They had gone only a short distance from the city. Now Joseph said to his steward, up, follow after the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, why have you repaid evil for good? Is it not from this that my Lord drinks, and by this that he practices divination? You have done evil in doing this. So, and Joseph's playing major pranks on his brothers here, right? This is his revenge. When he overtook them, the cupbearer, or the, yeah, whatever, his caretaker guy, steward. When he overtook them, he spoke to them these words. They said to him, "Why does my Lord speak such words as these? Far be it from your servants to do such a thing. Behold, the money that we found in the mouths of our sacks we brought back to you from the land of Canaan. How then could we steal silver or gold from your Lord's house? Whichever of your servants is found with it shall die, and we also will be my Lord's servants." Boy, that's rash. He said, "Let it be as you say. He who is found with it shall be my servant, and the rest of you shall be innocent." Then each man quickly lowered his sack to the ground, and each man opened his sack. And he searched, beginning with the eldest and ending with the youngest. And the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they tore their clothes, and every man loaded his donkey, and they returned to the city. When Judah and his brothers came to Joseph's house, he was still there. They fell before him to the ground. Joseph said to them, "What deed is this that you have done? Do you not know that a man like me can indeed practice divination?" And so it's a magic cup is basically what he's saying. Oh, he's saying, don't you think the gods would tell me if you took my cup? I lost it. And Judah said, 16, "What shall we say to my Lord? What shall we speak? Or how can we clear ourselves? God has found out the guilt of your servants. Behold, we are my Lord's servants, both we and he also in whose hand the cup has been found." But he said, "Far be it from me that I should do so. Only the man in whose hand the cup was found shall be my servant. But as for you, go up in peace to your father." Then Judah went up to him and said, "O my Lord, please let your servant speak a word in my Lord's ears, and let not your anger burn against your servant, for you are like Pharaoh himself." My Lord asked his servants, saying, "Have you a father or a brother?" And we said to my Lord, "We have a father, an old man, and a young brother, the child of his old age. His brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother's children, and his father loves him. Then you said to your servants, 'Bring him down to me, that I may set my eyes on him.' We said to my Lord, 'The boy cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father would die.' Then you said to your servants, 'Unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you shall not see my face again.' When we went back to your servant my father, we told him the words of my Lord, and when our father said, 'Go again, buy us a little food,' we said, 'We cannot go down. If our youngest brother goes with us, then we will go down. For we cannot see the man's face unless our youngest brother is with us.' Then your servant my father said to us, 'You know that my wife bore me 2 sons. One left me, and I said, surely he has been torn to pieces, and I have never seen him since. If you take this one also from me, and harm happens to him, you will bring down my gray hairs in evil to Sheol. Now therefore, as soon as I come to your servant my father, and the boy is not with us, then as his life is bound up in the boy's life, as soon as he sees the boy is not with us, he will die, and your servants will bring down the gray hairs of your servant our father with sorrow to Sheol. For your servant became a pledge of safety for the boy to my father, saying, if I do not bring him back to you, then I shall bear the blame before my father all my life. Now therefore, please let your servant remain instead of the boy as a servant to my Lord, and let the boy go back with his brothers. For how can I go back to my father if the boy is not with me? I fear to see the evil that would find my father." And I think we're going to leave it at a cliffhanger, even though it's quarter till, because I got nothing left. So, any questions?
So he does this on purpose to punish them? Pretty much?
I mean, I think he's just messing with them.
It's like ways to get them all down there. It's like, now go get
Yeah.
the brother of his mother.
Yeah, he really wanted to see his brother.
His dad, and he's gotta keep it going.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is, a lot of this is a ploy to get them to bring the whole family in to see him. Yeah. And I think he's messing with them a little.
I don't know where they got the gifts to take to Joseph, the fruit and that stuff, but there was a famine in the land.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Couldn't grow grain, but they could grow fruit.
Maybe they had dried fruits. Maybe they had dried the fruits and those were saved. I mean, if there's a famine, yeah, there wouldn't be any fruit growing. Can you have a grain famine and still have fruit? I don't know. I ain't no botanist. I don't know, George. It's a good question. My guess, though, based on the other things were spices, it's dried. Yeah. Yeah, so these are all things that can be stored, right? So dried fruits, yeah. That would be my guess. All right, well, let's close in prayer. Father, thank you for your word. Thank you that as we read your word, it is more than just nice sounding words. It is you at work through real human history. That is encouraging, Lord, that you have always been with us and you will always be with us. Thank you for showing yourself to us. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, see y'all later. See you all later. Thank you very much.